Well guys, some news is breaking in the Age of Empires 2 world. The Forgotten Empire devs have released the Dynasties of India expansion pack early to a select number of content creators. So there's a bunch of new information out there worth covering. Now you better believe as soon as I get my hands on the expansion pack, I'll be putting out all kinds of videos about the new civs. But for this video, I want to instead focus on the current list of new balance changes that are slated to come with the expansion pack. So I won't be talking about the Bengalis, the Dravidians, or the Gujaras, but instead the buffs and nerfs that are hitting all of the other civilizations. I want to credit Akoska10 on the forums for gathering together most of this information. His post was critical for helping me to put out this video, so thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And I also want to emphasize quickly that these numbers are of course a work in progress, they're not set in stone, and they could certainly change by the time the expansion fully and finally releases. But with that out of the way, let's dive into the current list of balance changes. So looking at the general changes first, the big one here is that feudal age towers are receiving a buff. They're getting 150 more HP. So in the feudal age, they will have 850 HP total. To my understanding, the castle age HP is not changing. It should stay at 1020. So this is a really nice buff, of course, for either defensive play, if you're trying to push back some kind of rush, or of course, if you are a Watchtower Rush fan, then this is a really nice buff for that as well. So it's just, they're going to take a little bit more damage before they finally go down. Pretty nice buff there. Also, of course, you are looking at the Elephant Archer. This is now a regional unit, so there are a host of civilizations that will be gaining access to the Elephant Archer. And with that change from the unique unit to regional unit, there are some stat changes as well. There is a nice buff. It costs 10 less food per unit, so we're now down to 90 food and 70 gold per Elephant Archer. But on the other hand, it is receiving some nerfs as well. It's losing 50 HP, so we're down to 230 HP for the Castle Age version, and 280 HP for the Imperial version. And the unit is also losing 1 Pierce Armor, so we're down to 2 Pierce Armor for the Elephant Archer. Now, one thing that is important to emphasize about the Elephant Archer that doesn't show up in these numbers is that as a regional unit, it's now available in the archery range, so it should be a lot easier to mass up. And that's even before we consider the discount to its cost. So that's a really nice, buff in that sense, but it is going to be a much less tanky unit. So that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on, just to see how useful and how effective Elephant Archers are now that they are no longer a unique unit. Next, we want to look at the Berbers. They've received a nice buff, not just for the Berbers, but for any allies of the Berbers. Their Genitours are now costing 10 less food, so they are down to 40 food and 35 wood per Genitour. I had been reading just the other day about how Genitours are a unit that are often seen as not worth their cost. They're supposed to be a trash unit, but for a trash unit, there was quite a bit of a food investment, and so bringing it down to 40 food should make them much more viable. Next, we want to talk about the Bohemians, and the Bohemians are certainly receiving nerfs. Nerfs targeted toward their arena late-game dominance. The Hufnitsa is losing 5 attack, so we're going down from 55 to 50 attack damage. And their monasteries are no longer cheaper, right? So they used to be 75 wood, now they are back to the standard 175 wood. And again, these are nerfs targeted specifically for their arena dominance. They were known as monsters on arena. And so now they shouldn't be quite as oppressive on arena maps, without, I imagine, this being too big of a nerf for their Arabia gameplay, for example. Next, we want to talk about the Burmese. They've received some pretty nice bonuses. They now have a new civilization bonus. Their elephants all gain +1 melee and +1 pierce armor. And this stacks with the Howdah unique tech, which is technically being nerfed down to +1/1, down from +1 melee, +2 pierce armor. But again, I see it as an overall an overall buff, because you are getting the innate bonus plus the Howdah. Means after Howdah, you essentially have +2 melee, +2 pierce armor. So they're going to have some very, very tanky elephants. And I have to look. I don't actually know as to whether or not the Burmese are going to get access to any of the siege elephants or the elephant archers, but their battle elephants certainly will stack up nicely in comparison to the new civs and their unique elephants. Also, the Imperial Unique Tech Manipur Cavalry is now 250 food cheaper. This is the technology that gives Cav +5 attack versus archers, so that's a really nice bonus there. Next, I want to talk about the civilization formerly known as the Indians. They're now the Hindustani, and their Imperial camels are losing 1 attack. This is down from 9 attack to 8. The upgrade still provides their camels an additional attack, so going from heavy camel to Imperial camel gives them +1 attack. You are also gaining +20 HP and 2 seconds less training time. So, it's still a nice buff, but they are going to be a little bit weaker. Now, you do have to factor in, though, that the Hindustanis gain that ability where their camels attack 25% faster. So there are a lot of behind-the-scenes numbers that will be impacting just how useful Imperial camels are. I don't know whether this is going to be a nerf or a buff to the Hindustanis by the time this is all said and done, but I did want to go ahead and highlight this one stat change for the Imperial camel. Next, we have the Inca, who have received a new team bonus. The Inca were known to have the worst team bonus in the game. It used to be that farms were built 100% faster. But now, their skirmishers and spearmen all gain +2 line of sight. So, this is a nice bonus if you are a fan of maybe attacking with trash units. There'll be some flexibility. I wouldn't say this is the worst team bonus in the world. Maybe not the most important team bonus either, but, mejor que nada, as they say. Next, we have the Saracens. And the Saracens, alongside the Slavs, are the 2 civilizations that have received some significant, sizable changes. Let's go over this. First, their Imperial Age unique tech Zealotry has moved to the Castle Age. And so that means that their former Castle Age tech Madrasa is gone. They no longer have that. Madrasa used to make, it used to give you a gold rebate, if you will, when you lost your monks. You'd receive gold back when your monks died. That's no longer in the game. Zealotry, which makes your camels stronger, has been moved to the Castle Age, and they have a new Imperial Age unique tech counterweights, which give mangonels and trebuchets an additional 15% to their attack damage. Now, I don't know whether that includes bonus damage or not. I'm assuming that it only is related to their base damage. If that is the case, then what we're looking at is the trebuchet attack going up from 200 to 230. And again, that's an additional 250 on top of that bonus damage versus buildings. But just the base damage goes from 200 to 230. Mangonels are moving up from 40 to 46 damage. Onagers from 50 to 58. And then siege onagers from 75 to 86 damage per shot. That's pretty neat. Pretty nice bonus there. Gives them a little extra oomph in their artillery. It's nice. The other big change is coming to the Slavs. First, their team bonus is changing. Military buildings, now including castles, provide +5 population space. Their Castle Age unique tech Orthodoxy, which gave monks an additional +3 melee and +3 pierce armor, has been removed. That's gone. But instead, they get a new Castle Age unique technology called Detonets, or Detonate. And what that does is it takes 40% of the stone cost of castles and towers and transforms that into a wood cost. The cost of Detonate is 400 wood and 200 gold. And so what that does is it brings, like take the castle for example. It costs 650 stone by default, but after you research Detonates, it's going to go down to 390 stone and 260 wood. Or the Watchtower, which used to cost 50 wood and 125 stone, after researching this unique tech, it becomes 100 wood and 75 stone. Considering that stone is the much rarer resource, this is a great technology, and you can tell that between this and the team bonus, you are encouraged now as the Slavs to produce many more castles than you might otherwise have. And indirectly, that will also make boyars a much more viable, unique unit, because you're already going to have the many buildings necessary to produce them. So it'll be much easier to mass up boyar. It's a pretty nice bonus for this civilization. Finally, we have for the Vietnamese. Paper money is now changed. It used to be that you and your teammates would receive 500 gold whenever you research the tech, and it cost 500 food and 300 wood. And it has a new effect. Now, instead of doing the gold thing, lumberjacks generate gold as well as food. I do not have a rate number for you. I imagine it's not going to be a great number of gold per lumberjack, but it does mean that you as a Vietnamese player will have a constant trickle of gold, especially on maps like Black Forest or Arena, somewhere where you have lots and lots and lots of wood available. So that's going to be a really nice bonus for the Vietnamese. I'd imagine to be somewhat comparable to the unique bonus for the Burgundians, where their farmers generate gold. The Vietnamese have the lumberjack version of that. And so those are the big changes that are coming to the current crop of civilizations. Like I said, we will be having on this channel videos dedicated to the Gurjaras, the Dravidians, and the Bengalis. So I encourage you, if you would, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. But with that, thank you so much for watching. This is the Iron Kaiser, signing out.